Did you know that every relationship we have is in some way a mirror of the relationship we have with ourselves? No? Would it surprise you to hear that very often the things that are most challenging in our intimate relationships are actually prickly things that we don't want to see or accept or bow down to or acquiesce to or all the or things. And they all come back to us. I'm going to tell you a little personal story to give you an example. So as I'm very open about talking about, like I was married to my ex-husband, the father of my son. We were together for 20 years. Okay. So this was not some short-term gig. And it took an awful lot for me to leave that because, oh my gosh, I'm getting all emotional. Because by all accounts, if you looked at our lives outside, he was handsome, he was successful. I didn't have to worry about money. He didn't have any vices. It's not like he had any addictions. He didn't cheat on me. He wasn't abusive. We went on all these trips. I mean, like if you looked at our lives at the house we lived in, and we had a condo at the beach. I mean, if you looked at our lives, like everybody's like, what is wrong with you? Like, what is the problem? Why can't you make this work? And that's a story I told myself. Like I used to literally sit and say, okay, if I can just make it till I'm 65, I can just make it till I'm 65. I can just make it till I'm 65. And I had this vision that once I was 65 and, we were grandparents, that we would be sitting on this porch somewhere in I don't know, the Smoky Mountains and this cabin porch and rocking chairs, holding hands and smiling about all the obstacles we'd overcome. That everything would seem so unimportant at that point. I didn't understand how accurate I was. But of course, that was 26 years ago, and I didn't have the patience to do that. So here's what happened. We did divorce because I finally felt like I absolutely couldn't live that way any longer. And there were a whole bunch of reasons. And it's the reason that I advocate with women that I work with that we really think about like what is our intention? What is our intention? Because until we learn to love ourselves with the same degree of love that we want someone else to love us, they just can't do it. They can't. And this is what I asked my ex-husband, because we're on very good terms. Actually, much better relationship now, I think. We get together for holidays whenever I'm in town. I mean, like it's good. And it's great for my son. And he now finally has siblings he never had growing up. I mean, things work out. Still creates sadness for me when I think about my family not being together. But here's why. So I asked him after our divorce, it was probably a year later, and I said, so what do you think went wrong? What do you think happened? And this is what he said. He said, I thought you could love me enough. It's very profound for me to hear. Here's why. My human design type is a 5-1 splenic manifestor. Now, if you're not familiar with human design, profile lines are very, very important. And the 5 line means that people project on me what they want to see. It also creates a part of me that wants to be seen that will never completely be seen by someone else, because it's a projection line where people actually project on me what they think I can do for them. This was such an enormous relief to discover, because all my life I thought, well, I must be doing something wrong, right? Because I'm the common denominator. And the truth is, I was just being me. But the part that was missing was that I wasn't loving myself enough to see that the degree that other people found love in me was on them. My part was to show up in love. My part was to show up in love. But I was so desperately needing someone to love me to validate that. And because of my profile line and who I am in human design, they were loving me okay, as long as I could give them what they wanted. So guess what? I was a hamster on a wheel because I hadn't learned to love myself. So we're talking a lot about self-trust this month in the membership group. And I want to tell you, like, I have been tweaking and working on the membership group because my goal is to actually provide a service that allows you to see how self-awareness makes love possible. And without it, might as well hang it up. Nobody can give you what you want inside. Nobody can make you feel it. Nobody can give it to you enough. I couldn't have loved my ex-husband anymore. I couldn't have sacrificed anymore. I couldn't have tried any harder. I couldn't have molded myself into anything other. I mean, I was spent. That was the reason I finally collapsed and snapped, because I couldn't be anymore. And every time I was something he wanted, there was more, because he couldn't feel loved. He couldn't feel loved. And I didn't feel loved enough to say, hey, you got to figure that out, buddy. You got to figure that out. That's not on me. That's the secret to love. It's trusting yourself. If you want to know how to do that, I can show you, because I've definitely walked the path, and it's the only way to go. See you soon.